Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, back at it again with another video. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick recap as to what happened during today's matches my time, that, of course, being day 2 of CDL Champs, as well as giving you a preview of what you can expect going into today's matches your time, that, of course, being day 3 of CDL Champs, our last day of bracket play before we finalize who's going to be in the finals, and we see the All-Star game. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is our last full day of matches for the season. Tomorrow, Sunday, will just be, of course, Championship Sunday, where we crown our winner in our best of 9, and we have our All-Star game. So without further ado, let's look at the vetoes that I had for our few series today during day 2, and a preview of what to expect going into today, our time, which is, of course, Saturday, which is the future for me at time of recording. So looking at day 2, of course, it was the London Royal Ravens taking on the New York Subliners in the losers bracket to kick things off. And you guys know I was expecting the Subliners to win in 5, and win in 5 they indeed did. So let's look at the stats here. So as you guys can see, it was a really poor performance by the London Royal Ravens on the tail end of the series. Afro had a really rough series. Obviously, he had a 0.6, 0 to 0.8, Nasty to 0.9, and Gizmo was the only player to do well with a 1.14. And then on the New York Subliners, everybody was positive throughout the series, so they really turned it around at the end. And if you guys look at what I'm seeing on the screen, the Gav hardpoint went the way of the Ravens, and they started out really hot behind a great performance from Nasty. And they chained that into a really strong Desert Siege. Of course, looking at the stats, Nasty again went off. He dropped a 2.2 on their foreheads. And then we got to a control. I was expecting the Ravens to walk away with the control, as you guys can see in the... Oh, wait, no, I wasn't. I was expecting New York to win the control and the Berlin S&D, which didn't come to fruition there. It ended up being the game 5. So I guess I was right in that New York would win the Berlin. I expected them to win the Desert Siege too, even though London was 8-1. I just felt like New York would win a game 5 no matter what. But back to the matter at hand. So the Subliners won the Gav Control 3-1. Berlin Hardpoint, they won 250-173. And the Berlin S&D, they won 6-4. So it was a really great performance from the Subliners. They did what they needed to. The only map that I got wrong here was, of course, just the Tuscan hardpoint. I did end up saying that Berlin would make it through, and then Gav was in place of Tuscan in my mock vetoes. So that's pretty good. I got 4 out of the 5 maps correct. Yeah, and then the order, of course, of the S&Ds was wrong, but the maps are correct. So looking at our second series of the day, we, of course, had the Boston Breach taking on the Toronto Ultra. You guys know I was expecting the Ultra to walk away with a game 5 dub, and they got it done in 4. The Ultra looked really good in this series, and it's very encouraging for them going into their series tomorrow, where they will face the Seattle Surge. Well, today, your time, tomorrow my time, where they face the Seattle Surge. And looking at the stats, the Boston Breach, they just got neutralized. Vivid had a 0.76, Nero had a 0.83, TJ had a 0.97, and Methods has a 1.17. And then on the Ultra side, everybody either went close to even or very positive. Cammy with the 1.29, Vance with the 1.06, Inside with the 1.08, and Kleenex with a 0.98. So basically even on Kleenex's side. And looking at the series, I mean, Ultra, they just played really well. Clearly, they were slaying in the hard point. They dominated the Breach in the hard point. It honestly wasn't very pretty. The Breach were just behind the whole time. And then in the Desert Siege S&D, the Breach just starched them. The Ultra just did not look comfortable in Desert Siege at all. They looked like they didn't know what map they spawned into. Somebody's controller was unplugged or something. I don't know what happened, but they got 6-0'd. And the Breach, this was the only map that they really were able to take, and they looked convincing to take, apart from the Berlin Control. The Berlin Control is a very similar story. The Toronto Ultra just kicked it into overdrive at the end, and they clutched up when they needed to. So basically what happened yesterday, my time, against the Thieves, where the Boston Breach were unable to close it out in map 3, excuse me, where they were able to close out in map 3 because of poor streak usage from the LA Thieves, didn't happen against Toronto Ultra. The Ultra just, you know, they came out, they handled business, and they clutched up when they needed to, especially at the end. It was really good, and a great performance from them overall, because Berlin is such a strong offensive map. I was kind of surprised that the Ultra were able to win a defense in the way that they did. And then looking at the game 4 to close it out, we had Berlin Hardpoint, and Ultra, they just closed it out here. I'm not going to say that they dominated or something like that. It was really just Vivid having a bad map. He dropped a 0.53, which is, not going to help you to win a map at Champs. So that's the end of the Boston Breaches season. They had a great season, as you guys can see on the right side. They were the sixth place team. They were above Toronto in the standings. So it's a little bit surprising that Toronto knocked them out, given the fact they're higher in the standings. But Breach did just win more series at the beginning of the year, so they had a bigger cushion going into the tail end of the year, and that really helped them to get better seeding going into Champs. But obviously, it didn't matter because they played Thieves and then they dropped to Losers, where they got bopped by the Ultra. And you guys know I was expecting the Boston Breach to get double bopped. If you haven't seen my tier list video, be sure to go check that out. Yeah, so great showing from the Ultra. This is very encouraging for them going into tomorrow. Cammy dropped to 1.64. God, dog in map 4. That boy was going crazy. 36 and 22. That boy was going crazy. 1.29. God, dog. Somebody help Methods, man. Tough season for the Breach. Hopefully they bounce back and, reload and go again. So the Ultra, they smoked them. The only map that they lost was the map 2, which is one that I was definitely expecting them to win. I didn't see Siege getting through. I'm not sure why Siege got through. Kind of a toss to me. A little bit surprising, but whatever. Looking at our next matchup, we had Faze take on Seattle Surge. And you guys know I was expecting Faze to win in 5, and win in 5, they indeed did. You see each map, I had Faze winning it in the mocks because I just wasn't sure what to expect. But I thought it was going to be Bocage, Siege, Tuscan, Berlin. And let's see how that turned out. So we had Tuscan and Berlin as our hard points. Was that correlative? No, I thought it'd be Bocage map 1 because they played Bocage every time they played each other up to this point. And both teams are really strong on Bocage. So I thought it would be an ego challenge on both sides, but it didn't end up being that. It ended up being a Berlin instead. So we take that, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a Berlin instead. Yeah, because I had Tuscan and Bocage, right? So yeah, the Berlin, it was really close, as was the Tuscan. The Tuscan phased through away. Same thing with the Berlin. Phase should have closed it out in 4 or 3. It really should have been a 5-0, like Varsity said. As you guys can see based on the stats here, Seattle just wasn't playing that well as a team, and Phase was just a complete team. Everybody on Phase, apart from Abizi, had a really, really high KD. And the Seattle Surge guys, they just got talked apart from Pred, the rookie of the year. But when you have the MVP on your team and Celium, you can do what you want. I mean, the guy dropped a 1.44, which is insane, against a team that has consistently played them really tight and has beaten them more than they've beaten the Surge. So great showing from FaZe. They choked map 1 by 2 points at the end. Of course, Tuscan P1. The thing that scares me the most in life is a FaZe fan came back and the nightmare came to life. Berlin S&D, FaZe just outclassed him here. Tuscan Control, they outclassed him here as well. You guys know I was expecting FaZe to take the control because Seattle's control has been rather shaky lately. Berlin HP, Seattle just clutched up. They iced up at the end like they have been in every hardpoint they played this tournament, and they won. And then Tuscan S&D, it was around 11. The FaZe boys clutched up, and I screamed. I literally screamed. I kid you not. I screamed. I threw my headset. I screamed. I was way too hype. I didn't think they would beat Seattle because they were down 5-4, and then they brought it back to win in the round 11. I was just like, I was so elated, especially after all the trash people have talked all year long about FaZe being, choke artists and, oh, FaZe can't win a final, all this other stuff. So top 3, hold that. And yeah, looking at our last series, of course, speaking of hold that, we had Optic Texas taking on the LA Thieves. And god damn, LA Thieves squared up, bro. All right. Gav2 was map 1. I was expecting Gav to make it through as map 1 just because Thieves are a really strong Gav team, as you guys can see here. They were 9-5 going into it. Optic was 10-2. Heavily favored Optic. And in real life, it did not favor Optic at all. Let's just look at the scoreline and the stats, guys. Illy dropped a 0.52. Optic Illy dropped a 0.52, ladies and gentlemen. Scump dropped a 0.9, Dashy dropped a 0.86, and Shotzi dropped a 0.72. Yes, Shotzi, the 2020 MVP, dropped a 0.72. I mean, it's just so shocking. Look at Octane stats. 1.77, Envoy went even. Kenny had a 1.32, and Dross had a 1.37. I mean, these guys just got smoked. They were off the Pine Park or something. I mean, geez. Envoy had a 2.17 KD in Gav Hardpoint with only 13 kills. Like the map did not last long. Illy had a 0.52. Shotzi had a 0.33. He had 7 kills. Shout out to Formal.
7?
7.
7?
I had to throw the clip in there. Dash had a 0.59, and Scump was the only one to go even. So it was just, I mean, they got outclassed. Berlin S&D, the Thieves went crazy. Draza dropped 13 on him. I mean, he went nuts. This was an all-time performance for Draza. Definitely one that he's going to be adding to his Huddle mixtape if you're a regular sports fan. If Call of Duty starts, if Call of Duty starts making huddles, Draza would damn sure put that on his huddle because that was crazy. And then in the Gav control, Optic lost this as well. I mean, it was just a poor showing from them. I don't know what to think. I mean, you guys know I was expecting Optic to lose here anyways. I do have them getting double bopped in my bracket. I've been very open about the fact that I felt like there was something wrong with this Optic team coming into champs. They didn't look like they had any real chance to win it in my mind. I don't know. They just seem hobbled. They don't seem like they play as a team, and it's just bad. Illy went 12 and 31. Damn, bro. Plug in your controller. Sorry, I don't mean to curse so much, but I'm just shocked. I mean, one of my friends said 12 and 31 is a joke. I didn't know he was talking about Illy. I thought he was talking about something else. Wow. This is my legit reaction to it. I mean, I'm mind blown. I'm not being a hater or anything. I'm genuinely mind blown. Like, shout out to Nameless. I'm straight up mind blown. Wow. All right. No analysis off of there. Thieves smoked them. Optic is clearly just not the same team right now. Not sure what happened there. But definitely encouraging for Thieves going into tomorrow. So looking at our vetoes for tomorrow, or our mock vetoes, because these are not set in stone, everything could realistically change. A lot of times the maps do change from my mocks to the actual series. Like, let's look at the Optic series. It was Gav, Berlin, Gav, and let's see if that came to fruition. Oh, yeah, actually, I was right. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that one was actually perfect. Terrible example. Um, yeah, task failed successfully. So yeah, let's just look at the vetoes for today, the mock vetoes. So today I'm thinking that we start things off with a Seattle Surge dub on Tuscan Hardpoint. I see Tuscan getting through. I'm not sure. I think Gavitu and Bocage will likely get banned. I think the Ultra will ban Gavitu because they are 2 and 8 on it. They are hot garbage on Gavitu. And yeah, I think that Bocage is the one that gets banned by Surge just because I don't know. I feel like they have a better chance of taking a Tuscan. They seem to be more comfortable on Tuscan this weekend. And Berlin, they seem to be more comfortable on as well. They've been playing a lot of it and they've been winning both. So I think the Surge let those two get through. And I think Ultra win 2 and 3 just because their controls looked really good. They beat Optic in control. They also beat Breach in control, obviously. They were very close controls, but Toronto seems to have the right pieces around them to win these close controls very decisively. And let's look at the Seattle Surge versus Faze scoreline, right? It's a 3-1. And look at the stats. Clearly, Seattle was not playing as a team and they weren't playing efficiently in control. And that's been the story of it for the last few days, at least in this tournament. So that's why I have Toronto taking maps 2 and 3. And also their search and destroy has not looked very encouraging. They lost 6-2 to Faze on Desert Siege. And then they lost 6-5 on what map was it? Tuscan. So I think if they run it back, I think Tuscan will go Ultra's way. They've beaten Surge on it twice this year. And Tuscan is a map that Ultra was unable to beat Surge on the last time they played. So that's why I like Surge map 1. Map 2, Ultra has the edge there. Obviously, it's 2-0. And map 3, they both traded, but more recently, Surge has taken it. But Surge's control is just kind of on a downward spiral right now. So that's why I have them taking the Berlin control. And then I see them for the first time taking the Berlin hardpoint. Their hardpoint is just really hard to deny. They beat Faze, and they've been beating really good teams in hardpoint. London has always been a good hardpoint team. That's been their bread and butter the entire year, and they beat them in that. So I have them taking map 4. And I have them taking Desert Siege over the Toronto Ultra. They played Toronto on Desert Siege twice, and they've never lost it. So I don't see them losing a game 5 if they get to another one. It seems that Seattle is on the precipice of just breaking out at this tournament. and just becoming undeniable. So with that in mind, and them being such killers in the lower bracket, I have them moving on and toppling the Ultra in a 3-2 series. The Ultra have been playing really, really well at this tournament, but I just think the Seattle Serve are the insurmountable object here in front of the Ultra. Now, moving on to our second series of the day in the losers bracket, where we will see the Optic Texas side taking on the New York Subliners. I have the Subliners double dinking Optic out. I had Optic losing in the second round, as I mentioned before. And I think it starts with a Tuscan hardpoint victory for the Subliners. I think they take Tuscan hardpoint. They do have the edge over Optic in Tuscan hardpoint. They've only played each other, I think, once this year. So it's a very small sample set. But when they did play Optic, it was after they picked up Paul X and, of course, Kismet. So it was with their full roster. So that was both teams at full strength with Illy, with Kismet and Paul. So I like New York's chances to repeat history and to beat Optic in 5. So I think New York take map 1, Tuscan hardpoint. Optic's hardpoint, obviously, today did not look very good. Not sure that they'll clean it up against a team that's looked as methodical as NYSL has all weekend long. They dismantled the Ravens when they played their game in the tail end of the series. And they also took Faze to the brink. They beat them in the first hard point, obviously, and they played them close in the second one. So they've looked really good in hard point, and Optic has looked piss poor in hard point. They lost both hard points to Ultra, I believe. I think they beat them 2-3-5, maybe. No, it was 2. They definitely didn't win map 4. I think it was 2-3-5. Yeah. So Optic's search is the more encouraging thing this weekend, which feels weird to say, but their search has been the most encouraging game mode for them. That's where they played LA Thieves the tightest as well, and in control. But I have New York taking the control. I think they're a better control team right now than Optic is. Optic's control is just not looking as good as it should. That one could go either way, but I do favor New York, just given the fact that Optic seem really out of form and like there's something going on. So I think New York map 1, New York map 3, and then New York map 4. I have Optic losing in 4 here. I think they go home. I think it's a pretty heartbreaking loss for the fans. And I think New York Subliners take it. I think they chain that momentum. Crim always loves playing against Scump. And what would be better for him than sending Scump home literally the year that Scump dropped him? Don't forget, Crim was supposed to get picked up for this Optic Texas team. It was supposed to be the entire Empire roster minus Reese Vivid. So Crim has a chip on his shoulder. He definitely wants to beat Scump. And the last time he beat Scump, he said the king is effing dead. So, this guy really wants to beat Scump and Optic so badly. Like, he loves it. He relishes it. So I think he will do it again tomorrow. And I think it comes in the form of a 1-3-4 victory for the Subliners. Book it. Hot take. I have it in my bracket already. It's been there since Thursday. I'm really, really, really a believer in this. You see, I said LA Thieves would beat Optic in my bracket and in the video. I've been very upfront about it, and it happened. So I think tomorrow New York Subliners handle business and send Optic home in round 2, which is what I was predicting. I was predicting Thieves, like, drop them, and then the New York Subliners hit that offstage spike and send them right down. So I think Subliners walk away with that one. And then in our next series, we will have Faze taking on LA Thieves, as I expected a few days ago, and I did this mock. So that didn't change, thankfully. And I see Faze walking away with it. I know Xenon's probably going to be pretty pissed that I'm saying that Faze walk away with it. But I just think that the Thieves have looked really, really good. But I just don't see Faze losing to the Thieves a third time, right? Obviously, they lost to Seattle the last few times that they played, but then they beat Seattle at Major 4, I think, or maybe it was the qualifying stage. Either one, they beat Seattle recently, and they righted that wrong of being beaten by them twice in a row. So they haven't been beaten 3 times in a row by any team in the CDL yet this year, other than Optic. And I don't see that continuing for the LA Thieves side. I don't see them beating Faze for a third time here. I think the Faze get it back in blood this time, as the song goes. And I think they do it in 4. I think Faze will right their wrongs from the Seattle Surge series. They looked absolutely fantastic. They're playing as a team. And I feel like their incredible performance got overshadowed by the fact that they choked maps 1 and 4. Similarly, I don't think Crowder allows them to choke maps 1 and 4 in this next series against Thieves because they're going to have to play perfect COD and things like selling and peeking the window on Berlin hardpoint. I think Crowder's just going to be like, dude, these are small things you guys are doing that are costing you at the tail end. Don't do it. I think they'll fix it. And I think they beat Thieves with that. I think in the Tuscan, even though it's 3-2 in favor of the Thieves, I think it'll be 3-3 if it makes it through. I think the Bocage, I think obviously Faze are up 2-0 all time over Thieves. And it seems they just have a better approach to S&D than the Thieves do. So I think they take the Bocage as well. They go up 2-0. And then I think the Gav control, that's a really hard one. I think Thieves probably take Gav control if I'm being honest. And then I think Faze close it out on the Gav hardpoint because Gav hardpoint has been really strong for Faze all season long. When they played it recently, they look pretty good. It's not like they're getting blown out or anything. The games are really tight. And like I said, I think Crowder will take them back through the VOD and say, hey, these are the maps you want to play. Just make sure you clean up these few things from other series against LAT Thieves, and then you'll be good to go. So that brings us to our next series where we will see the Seattle Surge taking on the New York Subliners. And personally, I think the Subliners have a really, really good chance to take this. I think they actually do take this. I think Subliners are going to make the run. I think Seattle, they look really good, but Subliners, their teamwork and their chemistry is really, really strong. And it seems like Seattle's teamwork and chemistry isn't there. I think against a team like Toronto Ultra that just doesn't really seem to have a great grasp of spawns and just playing for kills in this game, I think that going up against a team like New York Subliners, who really does have a good understanding of it, I just feel like that matchup is not favorable for Seattle right now in the season. When Seattle was playing as a team and they were playing their best COD, I feel like they would have definitely beaten New York in 5. But now that New York has come into their own and they are so comfortable at this tournament, it seems, I think there's something in the air. So I think Seattle walk away. I think New York walk away with a 3-2 victory. I think if Bocage makes it through, I think Seattle win that. If Berlin makes it through as map 2, I think New York win that for the first time. I think if Berlin makes it through as map 3, I think New York win that as well, just because Seattle's control has not been the greatest. Unless they make a massive improvement tomorrow, I think Toronto and New York take both controls in their respective series. And then on the map for Berlin, I see Seattle clutching up again. They've been a really icy hardpoint team. Their S&D and control has been lackluster, but where they've really failed in S&D and control, they've made up for it in hardpoint. So I think they win both hardpoints, maps 1 and 4. Even though Berlin is stronger for New York Subliners, they have a really good chance to take it, and they might make it a 3-1. But I do see Seattle clutching up and winning this. And then in the map 5, Bocage, S&D, if that makes it through, I think that the New York Subliners win. I think no matter what S&D map it is, I think the Subliners will win the game 5, and I think they continue their Cinderella story. Now, looking at our last series of the day, we will, of course, have the LA Thieves taking on the New York Subliners in the in the losers finals if the LA Thieves drop. I'm expecting them to, but regardless of who drops, I think that the LA Thieves will likely win the series. I think they win. Yeah, I think the LA Thieves win the series. I think it comes from a strong performance in the respawns. I think LA Thieves take map 1. I think they also take map 3. And then I think New York sneaks 2 and 4. And then map 5 is just a square up. So it's anybody's guess who wins that. But I'm going to say Thieves just because it feels like it's their tournament to get to the finals again. They seem to have beaten the fell off allegations. Every team has fallen off after winning a major, but it seems like LA Thieves are just different. It seems like they were a top tier team on the precipice of breaking out and they broke out. So I think they take this series in 5. Yeah, so if you guys want a super quick recap, I'm thinking Seattle in 5 in the first series to send Ultra home and eliminate them. I'm thinking New York in 4 to send Optic home. If not 4, then 5. I think New York win that. I think Faze in 4 to send the LA Thieves to the lower bracket. I think New York in 5 to send Seattle home. And I'm thinking LA Thieves in 5 to send New York home and book their ticket to the grand finals. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed all the COD today. I know this is a long video as usual. It's the end of the year, so the videos are going to be long. I got to really go through all the stats, make sure you guys know exactly what's going on. Yeah, my thoughts, my ideas, and everything. Oh, also, congrats to Celium on winning the MVP. You guys know I've been saying all season long, if he doesn't win the MVP, this league is fake. It's rigged. So he won the MVP. The league is real. And Kenny got nominated for some reason. I was kind of confused. He had a 0.97 like season KD, and they didn't nominate Pred, who is the clear-cut #1 SMG player. I'm like, is the MVP voting this year AR only? Like, did they just exclude all subs? Because I feel like Pred stats should make him an insta lock for MVP. But maybe they didn't want to put him in there because he got Rookie of the Year. Maybe it disqualified him or something. So whatever. Congrats to the winners. Congrats to Pred on winning Rookie of the Year and Cell on winning MVP. They both had incredible seasons. It was a great matchup between those two today, especially after they got their hardware. That was really nice to see. And yeah, the future of the league is very bright. And I think this tournament has been really bright. I will be making a really, really cool piece of content about this tournament and the New York Subliners run to get to this tournament. So I'm really hoping that they get like third or second or something, or even win it, just to make the content piece more interesting. So yeah, guys, that was about wrap it up for me. That was a long-winded ending to this video, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. If you haven't already, go through the library, man. I got like 150 videos here. Just stay a while. I have a lot of content, more content than you can get through in a day. So enjoy all the COD, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. And once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News, and I am signing off. Enjoy the COD, everybody, and I will catch you tomorrow for our final day of CDL Champs, that, of course, being Champ Sunday. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me once again. This is Chris from Fake Sports News for the last time, and I'm signing off. Peace out, everybody.